He had this big, deep, burly voice. You ready to be a Buffalo Bill? And I was like, yeah, hell yeah, I'm ready to be a Buffalo Bill. Welcome to my draft experience. I'm your host, Marcellus Wiley, and this is the small school edition. All right, let's start with my senior year. The summer, my senior year, going into training camp. Used to see some articles out there mentioning Marcellus Wiley, undrafted free agent. Now, most people would be sitting there a little disappointed in that moment, but not me. I was just happy I was on the damn page, even though I was at the bottom of the page most of the times as just being an undrafted prospect. And I got excited. I was working. And then we had to go on a road trip up to Dartmouth against the Big Green. And if you guys are not up to speed on Ivy League football, Dartmouth, kind of like a powerhouse in the Ivy League. You guys know about Jay Fiedler? Yeah, he played in the NFL. Well, imagine how he was doing in the Ivy League and against us when he was in college. He was pretty dominant. But he wasn't on the team this year. But they had an offensive tackle who was projected in the same articles literally to go in the first round from the Ivy League. And I had to go against him. So we're up there to scrimmage. Not a real game, just a scrimmage. So the setup was a little different. Offensive linemen, defensive linemen had to do our one-on-one drills on the side field before we went out there and scrimmaged in the game. And I got to get the first 2 reps against their dominant offensive tackle by the name of Brian Larson. Now, I'm nervous as hell because I'm like, yo, this is the best dude in the Ivy League, and this is my senior year, and everything's on the line. So my first rep went with the old speed rush. Just try to run around them a little out of fear, and also just I thought that was the best thing I could do, and I actually beat him. Got around that corner clean. I almost felt like he didn't touch me at all, but you know, you get caught up in the moment, you're excited, all my teammates are pumped, his teammates looking at him like, all right, dog, we know who you are, you better show up. So you got to go line up and do it one more time. And that second time I went up, I was like, oh, I got to fake it. A speed rush again, I got to fake it, but I got to set him up so I could go inside with a counter move. So I went up the field, and I think the speed rush probably would have worked again, but I outsmarted myself, tried to come inside with the counter move. He punched me, kind of got a little off on me. I got there late, not a clean pass rush, but good enough to still get some golf claps, some cheers from my teammates. But I felt good. Then we went out there for the scrimmage, I think 4 quarters. You know, it's not a perfect setup. It's not a real game atmosphere, but we played 4 quarters. Don't remember any of that because I was still stoked off of the fact that I beat Brian Larson in a one-on-one before the scrimmage started. But walking off that field afterwards, a scout walked up to me that I didn't even know was in attendance. And he had on the Arizona Cardinals hat, and his name was the Bird. And he walked up to me and said, hey, Wiley. He said, I like what you're doing out there. I was like, oh, thank you. He's like, yeah, I'm a scout for the Arizona Cardinals, and I have a really big mouth. So I'm going to tell everybody what I saw today. And I'm not lying. He did have a big mouth because literally for our first game, there were scouts in attendance. And you kept hearing from different friends and people in the crowd or people staring at the press box. GMs were showing up. Head coaches were showing up. And literally Bill Parcells was at a practice. And people were just telling me all these things, or I was witnessing, wow, the NFL experience had invaded the Ivy League. So I go through my senior year. We win 8 out of 10 games. So an 8-2 record, second in the Ivy League to none other than, Dartmouth. They won the Ivy League. And I remember walking off the field after my 10th game against Brown. We called it the toilet bowl because both of us, we weren't So that year we were good, and that year I don't think they were so good. We beat them. And I'm walking off the field, and in the Ivy League, we finish before everyone else, and we start after everyone else. So it's a really short season, only 10 weeks. And I remember walking off, and I was like, wow. My collegiate career is over. And then I start thinking, I could pick an agent. I got to get ready for this draft experience. So as much as I wanted to celebrate with my teammates and just lose myself in the moment, the reality was I had a lot of work to do. Now, where was I in terms of draft projections at that time? I think 5th, 6th rounder was as high as I heard, but most of them still said undrafted free agent. Then all of a sudden you get your invitation to the combine. Wow. I remember the letter. I still have a picture of the letter somewhere. You're invited to the Indianapolis Combine. And I was also invited to the East-West Shrine All-Star game. So I'm like, wow, I got my calendar lined up. I could go to the Shrine game, ball out, go to the Combines, ball out, do my pro day, and I'm gonna get drafted. 5th round, I'll take it. But I started talking to my agent, who was Brad Blank. I signed with him, and he's out of Boston. Now, people may not know Brad Blank, but he's actually been the agent for a lot of big-time players. If you want to know, Herman Moore back in Detroit Lions days, and Mike Mamula, which really piqued my interest. Mike Mamula went 7th overall from BC because he had a hell of a combine, a sick combine. And guess where Mike Mamula had that combine performance all worked on by none other than Mike Boyle. Now, who's Mike Boyle? He's the first guru trainer for the combines, world-renowned trainer. If you know who he is, you know how great he is. And he trained Mike Mamula, and he was going to train me. So we fly up to Boston for 6 weeks, and we're there working out, myself, James Ferrier, Jamie Sharper, 8 guys who end up getting drafted high in that draft. We're all working out together. Now, this is 1997. This is before you get into all these draft academies and combine prep courses and all that. This is like almost pioneering that in 1997. So we're all locked into dorm rooms, and we're just working out twice a day and eating. No junk food, no Cheetos and Hawaiian Punch, all the stuff that I love. And we had to work for 6 straight weeks, and we worked our asses off. And then coming out of there, had to go to the combines. And at the combine prep school, we were learning how to manipulate the combine actual tests. So before that, everyone used to train for the 40, just run as fast as you can. Vertical jump, jump as high as you can. Not Mike Boyle, not this combine school. He taught us how to manipulate the system in every single test. So for the vertical jump, when it's time for measurement, don't reach as high as you can. We had to learn to push our shoulders back and our shoulder blades down, and then reach as high as you can, given the optical illusion that you were reaching as high as you can to get that difference, an inch or two maybe on the test. To run a 40, we didn't run as fast as we could. We ran 17 steps, drive phase, acceleration phase, 17 steps, and he would count them. If you ran a fast 40, but it was 18 steps, he's like, do it again. Because he knew if you did it at 17 steps at the time, that was going to be the most efficient way and the fastest time for you. And he was right. So all the tests, we're learning how to really do it, not to bounce off the bench press, and how to have your arms locked so you could be in best position, best technique to perform. And then we went to the combines, and I was in a position group with Jason Taylor, who I was looking at jealous as hell. I was like, this dude's so damn tall and quick and rangy, like a little cat, a little cheetah out there. And I was out there, and I did well. I did my thing. I was like top 5 in most drills, and I won a couple drills in terms of my numbers. And I remember looking at Orlando Pace, who was the top pick of that draft, but at that time we were just at the combines. And I'm looking at this dude walking around like in flip-flops and just a laminate, laughing like, oh yeah, y'all gotta work. If y'all gonna get drafted as high as you want, y'all gotta work. Not Pace. Pace was out there chilling. He didn't do a damn thing. So then I'm in the storm of it all. It's coming at me fast. Every day I'm going to the library, looking at the internet. Like it was novel, it was new at that time. And I'm looking at the internet all slow, logging in, and then you would see your name. And my name was around 4th, 3rd round because of my combine performances. And I did well at the combine by their standards, but by my standards, I actually underachieved. It was kind of weird. Like I was sitting there like, damn, I'm faster than that. I ran a 4.85 at the combine. I was like, I run a 4.6 in practice. What the hell happened? Some people were like, no, the turf was slow. I was like, nah, it ain't that damn slow. But it was slow back then. I did a 35 in my vertical jump. I was like, I jumped like 38, 39. I could do more, et cetera, et cetera. So now we have our pro day. And there are 30 teams in the NFL at that time. Not 32, 30. And 28 teams show up. And 2 were missing. The Buffalo Bills were one of them, but we'll get to that later. So I'm in there, 28 of 30 teams. We counted them all. We saw all the faces you recognize and GMs that you didn't recognize, but you knew they had the power to pick you. And you're working out, and I killed it. I smoked it. I ran my fast 40 that I knew I could, that I didn't run at the combine. Ran a 4.61. I did my vertical jump like I knew I could. Did 39.5 inches, up from 35 inches at the combine. I also did my bench press better. I did 28 at the combine, and I did 35 at my pro day. But more importantly, at the combine, I weighed 271, and I had this little trick. And I was thinking like, okay. Now this is back in the days when they wanted the defensive end to look prototypical. 6'4", 280, that's the best. He could play the run and play the pass and get to the quarterback. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna get a little bigger. So on the day of the weigh-in of the pro day, had this big gallon, not this big, way bigger than this, like 5 of these gallon jugs of water and raw potatoes. And I was just guzzling the water that morning and eating these potatoes. And I had gotten a little bigger from the combine, but not to the tune of me weighing 282 pounds, which I did on the weigh-in that day. So think about this if you're a scout. You're seeing me live right in front of you at a pro day. I'm 11 pounds bigger than I was just a month ago, and all of my numbers went up. And they were like, damn. And he went to Columbia. He's at a small school. This kid is raw. And I think that's what really set me off in terms of my draft projections. So then you get to draft day, man. It's crazy. You're walking around campus all that time for about a month or so into April. And you're like the man. Everyone knows you're going to get picked somewhere. Everyone knows you already got paid because my agent already hooked me up with 10 G's. Yep. My senior year, I had $10,000 walking around campus feeling like a big shot. And if y'all really want to know what I did with the money, I didn't spend it on myself like I thought I was. I bought my girlfriend at the time an engagement ring, one of my 4. And I bought my mom, I gave her like $3,000. And I bought myself an outfit. And the rest I just kept so when we went to the party, we would have a little more fun than we used to have. And that was it. That was my 10 G's. I didn't want to borrow anymore. I didn't want to borrow against myself anymore. It was like 10 G's is good enough for a guy who just a few months ago had 0 in his bank account. So you get to draft day, and there was a lot of conversation because I had moved up the draft in terms of projection so much that I could even be a first rounder. And I remember reading this article in the New York Times. They said Wiley can go as high as the 17th overall selection. I was like, 17? Woo! I was like, yes. But I was trying my damnedest not to believe anything that I read because I wanted to stay in the moment and appreciate the opportunity. No matter how high or how low I got drafted. Remember, I'm the dude who was an undrafted free agent before the season. Don't get caught up in the sauce and all of a sudden think you're going to be a first rounder. That may not be the reality. So I kept myself grounded, even though I ain't gonna lie, it was tough. I was thinking that I'm gonna go mid first round. This is gonna be on. So then you get there draft day. They were like, are you going to the draft? I was like, nope. I'm gonna be at home with my family. And so they sent the media to my house. And I lived in this small apartment, super small apartment, probably the size of this pool house I'm in right now. Literally, it felt that small. And CNN was there, Sports Illustrated was there, and they were filming me, my mom, pops, friends, family, all crammed in this apartment waiting for me to get picked. Now, when the draft was going on back then, it was more than just the first round, and it felt like that the first round took forever. Like they were really trying to draw out the ratings and get everybody to just view forever. So I think the first round lasted like 5-6 hours. And of course, The first pick was Orlando Pace. And that was like 8, 9 in the morning out here in LA. And I'm like, all right, duh. I saw him walking around in flip-flops. He knew he was going to be the first pick. He was. Congrats. And then they start going 10th pick, 15th pick. And then around there, Chris Berman, my man Chris, who's a former Ivy Leaguer himself. So not only was he doing his job, but he also was rooting for your boy. He started mentioning my name. And all that anxiety and, I'm not going to get caught up in being a first rounder. I had all that to the side. I had suppressed it all until Chris started saying my name around the 15th pick. And then I started getting excited again. And then that 17th pick happened, and it wasn't me. And I was sitting there slightly disappointed, but still pumped. I'm like, I went to Columbia. I'm getting drafted somehow, some way. And they're already talking about me on TV at the 17th pick. 25th pick, 30th pick, no Marcellus Wiley. I'm like, oh, damn. Now we're in the second round. It's the same day, too. Now, this is not like it is now. It's the same day. They just roll into the second round. Then the commissioner goes off stage, and I don't know who, lieutenant commissioner or whoever, assistant commissioner shows up. I'm like, here we go. Here we go. Small school dude. Of course, I'm going to have to do it smaller. And the second round goes on, 35th pick. 40th pick, 45th pick. And I look, my pops, he over there asleep. He over there knocked out. And I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I started dozing off my damn self. I was like, damn, when I'm gonna get picked? We're only in the second round. I'm over here already anxious, crazy. And then the phone rang. And now, everybody said, the phone rang, it's you. I was like, I gotta remind y'all, the phone was ringing all morning because of Domino's. Open the door, friends coming through. Y'all still there? Like, he get picked yet? And I didn't have a cell phone, so everybody just calling the same house phone. Ring, ring, pick it up. Damn, fool, what you want? But this time it was a team. This time it was the Buffalo Bills. And it was John Butler, the general manager of the Buffalo Bills. I wasn't familiar with his name or his voice, but he had this big, deep, burly voice. You ready to be a Buffalo Bill? And I was like, yeah, hell yeah, I'm ready to be a Buffalo Bill. And then he put on a voice that I was familiar with, head coach Marv Levy. Hey, Marcellus. I was like, hey, I was like, what? This Marv Levy on the phone calling me. We're excited to draft you, and excited what you can do, and looking forward to you coming in and having opportunities to play. And I was like, thank you, coach. He could have said anything to me. I could have gave him a firstborn, anything. I didn't care. Whatever he was going to say, I was going to say, yes, coach. Then I hung up the phone, and I'm still pumped, excited, jumping for joy, hugging my family, friends, all the homies. Even my ex-girlfriend was there trying to get back in. I'll be hugging her, too, like, yeah, we got a chance. We'll see. And in the back of my head, I ain't going to lie, I was thinking, I get to play with Bruce Smith, the best DN alive. Yes. And then they got Phil Hansen too. Okay. Then I start thinking like, man, I ain't about to play. I just got drafted to kick it, to chill, just be up there to hang out, because ain't no way I'm getting on the field with them two dudes there. And I was right. But from that point forward, it was just joy. No anxiety, no issues. I don't know who got picked 53rd or anybody after that. I stopped watching, and it was party time. From there, I had my outfit laid out, which now looking back, corny as hell. I had on my football jersey from college, a number 5 jersey that I had made, not my actual game worn one. I had a little Slauson Swap Meet gold chain, $20, with a little 5 emblem on it, corny. Sweats on, one leg pulled up, LL Cool J style. Some like Jordans. And I looked at my outfit because I was getting ready for that party that night, pumped. So I forgot my damn headband. So I had to go to the mall. The same mall where I bought my shoes and I got my sweatpants from. Same store. Walk in the store this time. A day later, y'all, the day before I'm there, I get my outfit, I'm ready. A day later, but I just got drafted now. And I walked in the store, and before I could even ask, I'm getting bum rushed by the owner. Marcellus, you got drafted. Oh, we got to take pictures. And then everybody in the store just thinking I'm famous, even though I'm not. I just got drafted. They're like, oh, he's in the NFL. Like, oh, no, I'm not. I just got picked. I don't know what the NFL is. Like, I don't know what it looked like. No. Pictures. And I'm like, damn. It took me like 15 minutes to do a 1-minute transaction. I was like, oh, by the way, can I get the headband? Got the headband, walked out the store. Went back home, all love, all family. And then we had my draft party, which was at the Hollywood racetrack, big casino racetrack. They had a big auditorium in there and rented it out and went hard with all my homies, all my friends, some teammates, family. Crazy. It was packed. A lot of ladies showed up, exes, nexus, like in terms of people. I was like, I always liked her. She liked me now. I loved it. And I just partied my ass off the whole night. That party, the only thing that was weird about it, because it was my draft party, remember, so I'm a little different. I love magic. So I remember Cass was sitting there like, you know, my mom got to give a speech, my dad got to give a speech. I knew he was going to make it when he was in Pop Warner, playing running back, all that kind of stuff. And then before the party started, because everybody looking at all the girls, and all my boys was like, it's time to hit the dance floor. Let's go get this. Thank you, Marcellus. My dad knew I loved magic, and he had his friend come out, his coworker, who was a magician. And I was all into it for 30 minutes, but not a damn other person was interested in this magician. He was doing all these crazy tricks. I was loving it. Everybody looking at me like, if this wasn't your damn draft party, I would be out. But people suffered through my magician and the magic tricks, and 30 minutes later, we were all grooving. What happened after that? I don't think it's rated for TV. It was a party, y'all, and welcome to the NFL. Thanks for listening to your boy, man. That was my draft story, my experience, small school edition. Hey.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. And be sure to check out more of the best clips from Speak For Yourself, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.